Good morning and welcome everyone to today's focus for Thursday, December the 1st, 2022 at 10:35 a.m. Central Time. Today's focus, money and ministry. Money and ministry. I know that's a controversial topic. I know that probably someone's about to become offended, but I'm sorry. This is what I'm focusing on. And here's what happened at about 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I was listening to Redeemer Broadcasting, a Christian radio station that broadcasts online. I have the app on my iPad. So I'd been listening to other things. I reached over. I'm like, you know what? We'll just listen to Redeemer Broadcasting in the early hours here in the morning, deciding when I'm going to, start doing different things. So I reached over and I hit play on Redeemer Broadcasting, and Renewing Your Mind from Ligonier Ministry was on the air, right? Renewing Your Mind, Ligonier Ministry, the ministry of the late R.C. Sproul, right? A ministry that has been very influential in my life. Very grateful for all of their ministry, grateful for all of the programs. Renewing Your Mind, R.C. Sproul's books, all very instrumental in my theological development. I've been challenged and I've greatly appreciated. But today's program, basically, I don't remember exactly how long it was. It felt like it was longer than normal, but it was all basically give us money, give us money, give us money. Okay, I'm used to ministries doing that to some level. I don't know if I was quite prepared for this. Again, this aired today around 4 or 5 a.m. Well, it was probably after 5 a.m. on Redeemer Broadcasting. It will be airing on Christian radio stations all across the country. And if you subscribe to the Renewing Your Mind podcast, guess what? It's currently waiting for you to listen to. Here we go. This is what I heard around 5 or 6 a.m. this morning.
And so I would just ask our ministry partners to continue to pray for us and to continue to give. We do need to hear from you. This is our year-end period, and the team was telling me just the other day that between now and the end of the year, we need to raise over $5 million. So that's a significant sum.
Did you just hear that? Between now and the end of the year, they need to raise over $5 million. And then he almost says that without blinking. I mean, I know it's a significant amount. $5 million so that you can do ministry? $5 million? Okay, I'm sorry. I literally couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm going to back that up. I want you to hear that. This is just crazy.
And the team was telling me just the other day that between now and the end of the year, we need to raise over $5 million. So that's a significant sum. But what we're able to do in reaching millions of people is quite amazing.
Hey, it's a significant amount, but hey, we can reach millions of people. So $5 million between now and the end of December. I can't even comprehend that in any way, shape, or form. I just cannot. So today I want you to focus on this very important question. When does ministry reach some level where all you're really doing now is trying to continue to raise money? Like you're doing ministry, but you reach some tipping point where now ministry becomes more about having a team of people trying to raise money. I remember I believe it was the 1990s, that Renewing Your Mind and Ligonier Ministry was very, I don't want to say, well, I'm going to say it. It felt aggressive. That if you'd ever contacted their ministry before, they had basically a call center set up to call you saying, would you be willing to give a donation? And I was always like, what in the world is going on? So here's the question. As a ministry is growing. Okay, so let me state this. All right, I'll try to phrase the question, but because remember, today's focus is just what I just try to give you something to focus on, but it's typically what I'm focusing on, what I'm just having what my mind is just going over and over and over and over and trying to figure out. So let me at least explain this. I understand. I want to be as clear as I can because I don't want anyone to misinterpret what I'm saying. I understand ministry requires money. It's December the 1st. So for this ministry, this podcast, Theology Central, here is what's happened in just the last few days. One, we had to renew our Google domain, which was $22 and something. Okay, no big deal. We had to do that. Wasn't prepared. I didn't realize it had expired, but had to do that. Okay. I just got notified we have to renew our Squarespace domain, which is for our website and I think for theologycentral.net. So that's another like $20. Okay. So we're like about around, maybe we're getting close to $50 with those two. Okay, not a big deal. Boom. Then we get hit that it's time for us to pay our monthly charge for Spreaker. That's like $140. Also we got hit with the $50 bill for our monthly fee for being on Sermons 2.0 and Church One. So now you start adding that up. That's 50, that's 50, that's 100, that's 140. So now we're like $240. Then we got hit with our monthly fee for the curriculum that we provide everyone. That's another $50, all right? Then we got hit with our charge for our theologycentral.net pod page. Boom, that's, I think, $15 or $20. So I know that it costs money. It costs money. I understand that. And we clearly have a donate tab at theologycentral.net on the Church One app and on the Sermons 2.0 app. I understand. So I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm saying. Every ministry requires money. I wish it didn't. It requires money for us to have electricity at the church, to have a Wi-Fi connection so that we can live stream. It costs money for me to have this computer and microphone. There's all kinds of expenses that show up every single month. I get the emails and I get the bills and I'm like, okay, we've got all this money that we have to spend. And that's before we try to do anything like give away books or anything else that we try to do. So I understand that. But here's what I'm trying to get you to think about. At what point does it become when ministry, because you reach a level where all of a sudden it seems that you're more worried about getting money than you can anything else. When you need $5 million to have a Christian radio program, a Christian podcast, and the other ministry things they do, that is mind-boggling to me. That is absolutely crazy. And here's the reason I've always had somewhat of a hard time understanding. All right. I've always had a hard time understanding. It's 2022. Now, I just gave you some of the basic expenses it takes to have an internet ministry where you can broadcast 24/7 every day of the week. You can just broadcast live. You can turn on a microphone and you can talk and talk and talk. I've just given you some of the basic expenses. That's why I gave you some of the expenses that we have to pay, right? So I don't know, $200-300, man. I don't know the total amount. It may be around $400 a month, whatever the case may be, for us to be able to do everything we want to do. And all of that is giving all of our content away for free, placing nothing behind a paywall, right? All of our content, all of our live streams, our pod page, the curriculum, sending out resource materials when we can. All of that is, we don't put one thing behind a paywall. Now, you look at how much content we put out. I can't remember. I had the Spotify sent us a thing telling us about how many minutes of content we had put out. Someone, I think, figured it out and said it was like 3 or 4 hours of content per day that I am putting out. About 3 to 4 hours of content per day. You look at all of the content we put out. Now, I can put out all of that content, give people curriculum, send out resource materials when we can, reference tools like dictionaries and books. We send out what we can. We can do all of that for around $400 to $500 a month, right? Maybe a little bit more when we send out more books, okay? We can do all, and they need $5 million? Now, yes, if you look up listen notes, let me see if I can find it here. Let me see if I can find it here. Ligonier Ministries is they have a global rank of top 0.05% of podcasts. So this means that this podcast is one of the top 0.05 most popular shows out of 2,985,718 podcasts globally. Okay, they're in the top 0.05%. So for $5 million, they are a podcast that's in the top 0.05%. Right? Now you may say, well, that's worth the $5 million. You may think it's worth the $5 million. You may think that that's a great idea. You may think it's worth it to be in the top 0.05%. But let me explain something. This podcast is in the top 10%. We are over 2 million podcasts as well. Yes, we're nowhere near the 0.05%, but we're in the top 10%. And I put out 1 million times more content than they do. They're not even in the same universe. Now you may say the quality of their content far exceeds yours, and I will acknowledge that. Better speakers, better communicators, better equipment, better production, better voiceovers, better everything. They're better at everything. But there's no way they can even come close to the amount of content we make available to everyone. All the things that we try to make available to everyone. So what I'm saying is when a ministry needs $5 million to put out what they're putting out, and someone else can come along and for about $500 a month, maybe a little more, a little less, don't put anything behind a paywall. Everything is free. Put out 1,000 times more content. Something doesn't make sense to me. $5 million? Something doesn't make sense to me. Now, I know they may be involved in a lot of other projects and involved in a lot of other things that would require more money. But see, that's my question. At what point does the ministry become too big? At what point does the ministry, like it's almost like there's a line and like, okay, we're doing this, and it's always the same pitch, right? We could reach millions of people if we get millions of dollars. Like we can't reach millions of people unless we have millions of dollars. And I'm just like, well, at what point then is the attempt to try to reach people where the ministry then it flips and it now has to be about money and it's not really about ministry. Your ministry now is to get money so that you can supposedly do ministry. I just think that there's a line there and I don't know where that line is. But I just sit there and like, wait a minute, you need $5. I want you to understand this. If I had, I think it's $100. I think if I had $100 a month, because we did a free trial and we did a test one time. I think it's $100 a month. I could have an online radio station that's broadcasting 24/7, all around the clock, broadcasting all of my sermons, and I can break in at any time and go live. I could have an online radio station, just all of our teaching, just continually playing, right? I can put in little, I can literally create it like a radio station. I could pay to have voiceovers done where we could play in between the sermons. I could break in at any time and do live broadcasts. We could do that for about $100. I think it's $100 or $110 a month. That's a radio station. Now, Ligonier Ministries, they have RefNet, right? Which is basically their online radio station. So I know how much it costs to do that. And if I want to play any kind of music, yeah, but you can pay a licensing fee to be able to play certain music. There's different ways to work, and you can still do it for relatively cheap, maybe $200 a month. So $5 million for their podcast, $5 million to be on Christian radio, $5 million to have their own online radio station, $5 million to do the other things that they're doing. And just note, they need $5 million just between now and the end of the year. I don't know. I don't understand it. I understand the need for money. So I'm trying to walk the tightrope here, right? Because on one hand, you know what I wish we could all say? Ministry does not require money. Ministry does not require, nobody needs any money. You can but you can't just do it. It requires money, right? I mean, I'm broadcasting on multiple platforms right now. Spreaker, that cost us well over $100 a month. Sermons 2.0, Church One, that's $50 a month. Right? I mean, just right there, we're basically at $200 a month. So I understand it requires money, but when do you reach a level where you need $5 million? So maybe the question is, when does the cost not match what's actually being done? When does the cost of ministry exceed the actual ministry that one is accomplishing? When does the amount of money exceed the amount of ministry actually being done? When does the amount of money exceed what the ministry is accomplishing? And when does the amount of money actually exceed the amount of ministry being done? I think that that's a reasonable question, especially in 2022, where it's very easy now to get a microphone, and if you work hard, you can get your content everywhere. I don't know. This probably will not bother one other person. Other people hear this, they need $5 million. So I mean, it doesn't bother most people. Most people don't care. Like, it's weird. Like, sometimes people will see a televangelist on TV and like, oh, they care about money. They're greedy. They're doing it for filthy lucre. And then they'll turn around another ministry because they love that ministry. They're like, oh, they're asking for $5 million. Well, it's Ligonier Ministries. It's Renewing Your Mind. It's perfectly okay. It's this ministry. It's perfectly okay. They're asking for $500,000. Because if you love the ministry, them asking for money is good. If you don't love the ministry, they're greedy and all they're in for money. That is the most ridiculous way of thinking. We need a more biblical line of thinking in regards to money. And I just think that you can be growing your ministry and you can then you reach the tipping point, and then all of a sudden you need $5 million in 1 month. How can a ministry raise $5 million in 1 month? How is that even humanly possible? That's insane. That is insane. I mean, $5 million. Just, hey, Ligonier Ministry, send me $100,000. That would just finish. I could pay off my house, and then I would be set financially for the rest of my life. Just send me $100,000. Send me $110,000 in my minute. I mean, I can't even imagine if my church received $20,000. I can't even imagine what we could accomplish. If I received $20,000 this podcast, I wouldn't even know what to do. I would be like, oh my goodness, like a new computer, new mic. I don't even know if I want to get a new microphone. A mic. I could get the mic stand that I want. Because I definitely need that mic stand because I'm tired of using books, right? I mean, I could possibly get a new iPad. There's things I could get but I mean, $5 million. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to pay people's medical bills? Are you feeding the hungry? Like, I don't even understand that. That's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. So I know we've gone long here because today's focus is only supposed to be a couple of minutes, but I'm going to play this one more time so that you can hear it. Here we go.
And the team was telling me just the other day that between now and the end of the year, we need to raise over $5 million. So that's a significant sum. But what we're able to do in reaching millions of people is quite amazing.
There you go. When does money take over in ministry is diminished? Where is that line? What is your thoughts? Email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Today's focus, money and ministry, for Thursday, December the 1st, 2022.